We continue now at the top of Daf Nun Zayin Amud Aleph and Meseches Avodah Zara. This is Avodah Zarah Daf 57a. On the previous Amud, the Gemara had a case where an Ovid Kochavim, an idolater, and a Jew, they were treading on grapes in order to make wine together. And the question is whether it was prohibited or not. And the question came before Shmuel, and he delayed for 3 regalim to answer the question. And the Gemara asked on the previous Amud, why did he delay? If you're going to say the reason is Di Mashkachna Tana de Asar Rabbi Nassan, that if we find a Tana who says that it's prohibited like Rabbi Nassan, so then Osrine Afilo Bahana, then I'm going to say that the wine is forbidden even to get benefit from. And Rashi explains, Di Mashkachna Tana de Asar Rabbi Nassan, if we find a Tana that says it's forbidden like Rabbi Nassan, we're talking here about Yayin. The wine is going to be Asar Bahana. It's going to be Asar even to get benefit, B'mago shel Ovid Kochavim, just by the touching of an Ovid Kochavim. When the idolater touches the wine, it's going to be Asar Bahana. Afal pi shelo nischo la'avodas Kochavim, even though they didn't pour it as a libation to the Avoda Zara. The nisach lo have el al yedei shichshach. Rashi says it's really only considered nisach if you're splashing the wine around, and so therefore again maybe Shmuel would find that the Tana holds like Rabbi Nassan, that we would say it's forbidden even Bahana. And the Gemara continues, the Tanya, as we learned in a Braisa, Moddo, let's say the Ovid Kochavim measures the wine, Bein biyad, bein beregel yimocher, whether it's measured with his hand or with his foot, the wine is sold. Rabbi Nassan says, biyad aser, if it's done with his hand, then it's aser, you can't get any benefit, so you can't sell the wine. But beregel, but if he measures with his foot, so then mutter, then it is going to be permitted. And Rashi explains, Moddo Ovid Kochavim liyayin shal Yisrael, if an Ovid Kochavim measures the wine of a Jew, bein biyad, whether he's doing it with his arm, shehichnes yodo uzroo lesochel l'shayr kama yayin yeshbo, he's putting his hand and arm in there to measure how much wine there is, kimosha osen bekonish a kornfila, like they do with a pole. So again, according to the Tanakama, yimacher, it can be sold. Dekaven delo niskavin lenasech, since there was no kavana to pour it as a libation to Avoda Zara, so the Tanakama says that it can be sold. And again, Rabbi Nassan says it depends if it's biyad, if he's measuring with his hand, so then it's forbidden. You're not allowed to sell it, meaning you're not allowed to even get any hana, but if it's beregel, it's mutter. But the Gemara says, Amor da'amar Rabbi Nassan biyad, but Rabbi Nassan, he's only strict if it's done with his hand. But beregel miyamar, but if it's just done with the foot, would he be so strict? And the case that came before Shmuel was when the Ovid Kochavim was stepping on it with his feet, and so therefore, it can't be that Shmuel was wondering whether we hold like Rabbi Nassan, because again, that wasn't a case involving the hand. So Ella, rather, the reason why Shmuel was delaying was, Di mashkachna tana deshari Rabbi Shimon. If he finds a Tana that permits like Rabbi Shimon, Ishari, then he's going to say it's permitted, afilu b'shasiya, even to drink the wine. And Rashi explains, Rabbi Shimon, Deshari maga shel Ovid Kochavim shelo neskavin lenasech. Rabbi Shimon holds that if an Ovid Kochavim touches wine, if he did not have intention to pour it as a libation, so then Rabbi Shimon says that it is mutter af b'shasiya, it's mutter even to drink. Kidikatani masnisan, like it says in the Mishnah, there's a Mishnah coming up, Nafal labor vi'olo, etc. Rabbi Shimon matir af b'shasiya. Rabbi Shimon over there says it's mutter even to drink. And the Gemara continues, Ha'uvda dahava bebiram, there was an incident in Biram, dahu Ovid Kochavim, dahava kasolik bedikla, there was an Ovid Kochavim, an idolater, he was going up on a palm tree, v'aisi lulav, and he brought a lulav, he brought a branch, bahadei de konachis, and as he was coming down, naga berosha de luliva bechamra, the head of the lulav, it touched some wine, shalo bekavana, without any intention. The Bach over here has the girsa of naga beresha de luliva bechamra, again, the tip of the lulav, it touched some wine, shalo bekavana, and the question is whether the wine was permitted or not. And the Gemara says, Sharye Rav lezavune lovde kochavim. Rav permitted to sell that wine to ovde kochavim, to idolaters. The idea is that Rav permitted them to get hanoah. Amru le Rav Kahana v'Ravasi l'Rav. Rav Kahana and Ravasi, they said to Rav, V'hamar hu de'amar tinok ben yomahu ose yayin nesech. Doesn't the master say, don't you, Rav, say that even a child 1 day old, if he touches the wine, he can make it yayin nesech? And clearly, there's no intention in that situation, and there's no intention in this situation. Amar Lui said to them, Amor de'amri hana b'shasiya. It's true that I said it, but I said it in terms of drinking, meaning to say it's prohibited to drink. But bahana mi'amri, but did I say it also that you can't get benefit? You are allowed to get benefit in such a situation. And the Gemara continues, Gufa, returning to what we just said above, Amar Rav says, Tinok ben yomo, if you have a child just 1 day old, osa yayin nesech, he can make yayin nesech. And the Gemara continues, Eisrei Rav Shimi bar Chia l'Rav. Rav Shimi bar Chia asks Rav the following question from a Braisa. The Braisa says, Halokeach avodim min ha'ovdei kochavim. If somebody purchases slaves from the ovdei kochavim, from the idolaters, shamalu v'lo tavlu, they began the conversion process, they had milah, but they did not immerse, they didn't finish that process. V'chein b'nei hashvachas, the same is true of the sons of maidservants. Shamalu v'lo tavlu, that they had milah, but they did not immerse. So their status is rokan umidras on their spit, and that which they tread upon b'shuk in the marketplace, tameh is tameh. V'amri lo tar, and some say that it's tar, that it's pure. Yenon, and when it comes to their wine, so it depends. Gedolim, if they're adults, osam yayin nesech, then they can create yayin nesech. It's considered to be wine of libation to Avoda Zara. But ketanim, but if they are minors, ein osam yayin nesech, then they don't make it yayin nesech. And what does it mean, gedolim and ketanim in this context? V'elohen gedolim, v'elohen ketanim. The following are gedolim and the following are ketanim. When we say gedolim, what we mean is yodin b'tiv avodas kochavim umeshamsheh. They know about Avoda Zara and serving it. And ketanim simply means einam yodin b'tiv avodas kochavim umeshamsheh. They don't know about Avoda Zara and about serving it. And in any case, the Gemara says, Katani mihas. Nevertheless, what does it say in this brisa? It says, Gedolim in Ketanim lo. It says that if they're Gedolim, so then they can make Yayin Nesach, but if they're Ketanim, they don't make Yayin Nesach. And that's not like Rav. Rav said, Tinok ben Yomo, Osa Yayin Nesach. And the Gemara says, Tirgama, we can interpret it as follows, Abinei Shvachos. We're going here specifically on the sons of the maidservants. And Rashi explains, Shemalu v'lo tavlu, again they had milah, but they didn't do the immersion. D'kaim alon b'yavamas, because we've established in Yavamas, Liolam eino ger, a person is not considered to be a convert, ad sheyimol v'yitvol, until he has milah and he does the tvilah. And Rashi continues, V'chein b'nei hashvachos, and the same is true when it comes to the sons of the maidservants. Aval bishan noldu b'veis Yisrael. The point over here is, even though they were born in the house of the Yisrael, v'lo godlu ben ovdei kochavim, they didn't grow up among the idolaters, but still, bo milo tvila, they require mila and tvila. Uchashalot tav la'imo mitzchila, Kamairi Rashi notes we're talking when the mother did not immerse originally. Di'tav la'imo inhu lamalu tvila, because if she already did that, if she already immersed, so then they wouldn't need the tvila, they wouldn't need the immersion. And so in any case, the point of the Gemara's answer over here is that when it says in the Brisa, Ketanim lo, that the younger children are not able to make Yayin Nesach, it's not going on Ovdei Kochavim, because Ovdei Kochavim, even Tinok ben Yomo, like Rav says, is Osa Yayin Nesach, but it's going specifically on the Bnei Shvachos, the children of the maidservants, who, as Rashi just said, grew up in a Jewish home, so there we're lenient and we say that they do not create Yayin Nesach. But the Gemara continues and asks, Hav'chein kamer, but the Bryce in the beginning it used the word v'chein likewise. Again it said, Lokeach avodim in ovdei kochavim shemolu v'lo tavlu v'chein b'nei hashvachos. And the word v'chein sounds like it's saying whatever halachas are true by the b'nei hashvachos are true when it comes to the regular avodim min ha'ovdei kochavim. And so therefore, how can you say that when we say that ketanim don't make yayin nesach, it's only by the b'nei hashvachos? The v'chein would indicate that it applies across the board. And the Gemara says not necessarily arokon umidrasan. It could be that the v'chein is going on rokon umidrasan, it's going on the halacha with regards to spit and treading upon it. Again, we said with regards to rokon umidrasan, we said that there were two opinions. There was one opinion that rokon umidrasan is tameh, the other one tar. And so when we're saying rokon umidrasan tameh on that specific halacha, we're saying that is true whether it's avodim min ha'ovdei kochavim or whether it's the b'nei hashvachos. But when it comes to the halachas of yayin nesach, so again, those halachas, that distinction that we made between gedolim and ketanim is only true by the b'nei hashvachos. But the Gemara continues and asks, Hanichol amando amar tameh, that's good according to the one who says, again there was a machlokes, whether rokon umidrasan is tameh, that's good if you say tameh, because then you can interpret as follows. You can say that the brisa means, if you purchase avodim, so rokon umidrasan is tameh, v'chein b'nei hashvachos, also the b'nei hashvachos, also by them, rokon umidrasan tameh. You can interpret the brisa in that fashion. Elo lamando amar tar, but according to the one who says, rokon umidrasan is tar, meaning by avodim it's tar, so you wouldn't need to say v'chein b'nei hashvachos also it's tar. That wouldn't make any sense, because of course if it's pure by regular avodim, it's going to be pure by the b'nei hashvachos. So if you're going to say tar, you're going to have to say that the v'chein is not going on the issue of tumah. The v'chein must be going on the issue of yayin nesach. And we're saying that the same distinction that's made by avodim is made by b'nei hashvachos as well, in which case that distinction of between gedolim and ketanim is being made by avodim. That's what the Gemara means. According to the one who says tar, what are you going to say? And the Gemara says to that, Hakamash Malon, it's coming to teach us that Avodim Dumya de Bnei Shvachos, that by the Avodim, they're treated similar to the sons of the maidservants. Ma Bnei Shvachos Molu Velo Tavlu Hu, de Osen Yayin Nesach, just like the Bnei Shvachos, if they have Mila but they didn't immerse, that's when they make Yayin Nesach. Molu V'Tavlu Lo, but if they had Mila and they immersed, that would not be the case. Af Avodim Kain, the same thing is true when it comes to the Avodim. And what the Gemara means to say over here is that the equation between Avodim and Bnei Shvachos when it comes to Yayin Nesach is not an equation in terms of that distinction that we made between Gedolim and Katanim. Rather, the equation is in terms of the halacha of Molo V'Tavlo, that when it comes to the Bnei Shvachos, if they had Mila and Tvila, so then they don't create Yayin Nesach. And the same thing is true by Avodim, if they had Mila and Tvila, then they don't create Yayin Nesach. And the Gemara says that idea is La'fuke Midar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. That idea would come to exclude, to go against what Rav Nachman said that Shmuel said. The Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel, because Rav Nachman said that Shmuel said, Halokeyach Avodim in Ovdei Kochavim. If somebody buys Avodim from the Ovdei Kochavim, Afal Pisha Molu V'Tavlu, even if they had Mila and they had Tevila, they had Mila and they immersed Osen Yayin Nesach, it's still possible for them to create Yayin Nesach. Ad shetishka avodas kochavim mipiyam, until the Avoda Zara has completely left them. Kamash malon delo, and so that's what the Bryce is teaching us again, that they do not create Yayin Nesach in a situation where they had Mila and Tevila. And the Gemara continues, Gufa, returning to what we just said above. Amar Rav Nachman Amar Shmuel. Rav Nachman said that Shmuel said, Halokeach avodim in Ovdei Kochavim, one who buys avodim from Ovdei Kochavim, Afal Pishem Molu V'Tavlu, even though they had Mila and Tvila, Osen Yayin Nesach, they still can create Yayin Nesach, Ad Shetishka Avodas Kochavim Mipiyam, until Avoda Zara has disappeared from their mouths. And the Gemara says, V'chama, how long does that take? Amar Rav Yoshua ben Levi. Rav Yoshua ben Levi says, Ad Shnei Masar Chodesh, that takes 12 months. And the Gemara continues, Eisvei Rabbaler of Nachman, Rabbi asked of Nachman the following question, Halokeach avodim in Ovdei Kochavim, again a person purchases avodim from Ovdei Kochavim, Shemolu v'lo tavlu, they have Mila and not Tvila, V'chein b'nei hashvachos, Shemolu v'lo tavlu, and also the children of maidservants, the sons of maidservants who had Mila and not Tvila, Rokan u'midrasim, when it comes to their spit or what they tread upon. And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Nun Zayin Amud Beis.